Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Chroma Digitizing Live. And on today's live, I have a special guest. Some of you may know him, some of you don't. But back in 2022, when I bought my embroidery machine, I got a job to make some hats. And I had my digitizing software. I was using Chroma Lux, and I tried to digitize this design on a hat, and I didn't do a very good job. So I looked at the recommended vendor list that we provide to, or that I was provided by Racoma, and Vitor's name came up. And I read that he was from Brazil. And as a jujitsu practitioner, I was like, you know what? This guy's my brother. Let me just ask him. So I called him up, and I don't even think I think I exchanged an email with him. I sent him the image that I wanted. He digitized it for me. And not only did he digitize it for me, but he also ran it on a hat. And, we got on a video call, and he showed me the hat. And I was like, dude, why did you make it on a hat? You didn't have to do that. You just wasted your hat. He's like, it's okay. And that was my first interaction with Vitor. And I've been dealing with him ever since. I think he's a great guy. He does great work, and he's really fantastic. And the fact that I can speak Portuguese with him in practice is even better. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce Vitor into the house. Say hello, Vitor.
Hey, hello guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
That's
Como
great.
vai, Vitor? Todo bem?
Tudo bem, e vocês?
Muito bom. Very, very good. So, the what is I always call you Vitor, but what is your real name, Vitor?
It's a kind of long name is Luis Vitor Mendes Neto. So Vitor is the middle name, so I think everyone call me by Vitor, my parents and everyone. So Luis usually is when I am in trouble. So mostly is Vitor, yeah.
Okay, so at least Vitor is in there and is part of it, because I was always thinking, man, am I calling him the wrong name or not? But now we know
No,
we're good.
Vitor, anything is fine, but mostly is Vitor, yeah. My family, my parents, my friends call me by Vitor, yes.
All right, so I
Hmm.
guess I'm considering family. So thank you for letting me into your family, Vitor.
Everyone on the embroidery is family, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing that I really like about you, Vitor, is that you're very giving of yourself. And if you guys go to vitordigitizing.com, he provides you with a whole page of free designs. So Vitor takes his time to create a whole bunch of fonts, designs for different occasions, and they're all free on his website. So not only can he digitize for you, but he also provides all this free stuff for practice, and it's all great. I've tried most of them, and they're really, really good. And he is one of the vendors that we recommend on our vendor list on your portal. If you go to your portal, check out your vendor list, and he's one of them in there.
Oh,
So
nice.
on in today's live, what we're going to be talking about are what is the process and how do you go about digitizing an image. So I have a couple examples that we're going to talk about, and we're
Hmm.
just going to talk about the process as to what is it that you think, what goes through your mind, how do you come up with the path to digitize. It's not going to be very in depth on Chroma itself, but more about the process of digitizing and how it's done. So I will be showing Chroma Lux on my screen, but
Hmm.
with any type of digitizing software that you use, that's fine. But we're talking more about the technique of digitizing and what it takes to be a good digitizer. So we're going to be talking about how to do little patches like this, like what approach you would do something like this,
Hmm.
to making a huge back piece like the ones
For
that he's
sure.
created for
Sure.
Johan. So that's what we're going to be talking about. How do you do it? So Vitor, you have helped me out a bunch. I remember for last year's Deco Summit, I created a really huge design, but I was getting a little bit of registration loss in the design. And after speaking to you for a little bit, we
Oh,
talked about
remember.
it, and
Hmm.
I corrected my design, and the design came out perfect. And it was just a couple of tweaks.
Hmm.
So while we're talking, make sure you guys take some notes. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below so that we can maybe address them. We're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. We only have about an hour. So let's get into it. And let's say, do you approach a small image like this different than you would a really big one?
Yes, usually, small files like left chest. Uh, you don't need to make think too much about the sequence. Like a simple file like you have on the hands, just fonts. Essa mostra dos cavalos. And one color on the middle is pretty simple. When we work on jacket back, we need to think like when we do construction for our hats, because the hats have the curve, and the big jackets depends on the material. You have two, like these horses here, so you have two open area when we start the embroidery, so sometimes if I do a left chest, usually I can do like three letters and outline. And for hats or big jackets, maybe I need to do one letter, outline another letter, outline another letter, and outline. Is I think the big difference is mostly about how you're gonna make a better sequence to avoid registration troubles.
Yes, because sometimes let's say we're writing the word Racoma,
Yeah,
and you want to outline the word Racoma.
yeah,
So if you were a lot of people when they're digitizing, they want to write the entire word or have the entire word stitch out, and then they go about the border afterwards. And because of push pull compensation, every time you write a letter, the material is actually getting smaller
yeah,
and smaller and
yeah,
smaller.
yeah.
So if you start from one point to the next, all that material is going to compress. So then if you go to the outline afterwards, it's gonna lose registration. So the secret is do one section at a time, like start with the R and do the
Yeah,
outline,
yeah.
then the I and do the outline, or you can do a pair of letters and work your way slowly. And if you're
Something
doing
like
it for a
that.
hat, you would start it from the middle and just kind of
Mm.
work your way, but just do one little section at a time so that you don't lose registration.
I think that is the big difference about construction of small on to big designs. So if you for left chest, no problem. You can write a recommend, then the outline, like 4 inch, 3 inch, is not gonna be a big trouble. But if you're gonna make it on jacket back, recommend is not a square, So you have too much material on the top and down. So like you said, this pull compensation on each letter can move the material a lot, So when you put the outline for the last, probably you're gonna get registration troubles. And also I need to tell, I saw some difference between regular hoops and the mighty hoops, the blue hoops,
Yes.
depends on the material you're gonna put on this kind of hoop. You got more registration troubles than for regular hoops, so that is something I think the embroiderer need to pay attention, because when you use regular hoop, you still can tie a little more, you know. And on the micro hoops, if you have like a, how I can say, a slippery material, you can get more registration problems.
Now there are some ways to overcome that slipperiness. So some people have put a double-sided tape on the bottom of the hoop so that when it sandwiches together, it keeps the material a little bit stronger. So that's one way to help mitigate that problem.
Ah,
Now,
okay, that's good.
yeah, so you know the little foam double-sided tape, you
Hmm,
could put it
hmm,
on the bottom of the hoop and it'll help
hmm.
hold it. So if you have
Perfect.
silk or satin or very slippery
or,
materials, you
or,
can
or
use it to
also
kind of
you
keep it
can
tight.
depends on embroidery, also you can put a clear film on the top, so it's gonna help too. Yes, it's not
You can
slippery,
do that as well.
yeah.
And if you're using regular hoops, when the material is going through the hoop like this, you can
Hmm.
use T pins and actually put a pin through it, and that will keep the material from setting it down.
For sure also.
So I had this example on my screen here, and this is something that I'm going to attempt to digitize.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see it?
Yeah, Guatemala, very nice.
Yes. Okay. So when I look at that design,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little scary and intimidating.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
based on what you're telling me, what I would start doing
Mm-hmm.
is I want to work from the background and work my way forward. So I might do the clouds first and then put the mountain on top of the clouds
Mm-hmm.
and then put this on top of the mountain and then put the
Mm-hmm.
green on top of that and then put the houses on top of the green.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say on top of, I'm not saying that I want to digitize an entire like complex fill,
Mm-hmm.
but more just do the sky
Mm-hmm.
and then just barely overlap the other layer on top of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people that work with Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, what they do is they put the complex fills right next to each other like this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
because of the push pull compensation, you're going to
It
get that
opens,
little
yeah,
gap and
for
it
sure.
opens up. So what
Yeah.
you have to do is you create one and just overlap it just a little bit, and then when you test it out and you print it, it's almost going to be perfect. So it's really important to do these tests before you go to the original garment so that you don't lose it.
Yes, and also you can work like different angles, So like if your first few stitches you're gonna work like a zero angle, you can put the other like a 90 angle. So when so like the stitch is going on this direction, but on the over go by this direction, so they can meet together and it can avoid the registration problems too, so it's something you can use to help on this case, like Guatemala. I think the first thing you need to check is how many colors your machine have before you start to create, so when you got the colors your machine have, you can how can I say, you can reduce the details on the image because you need to work like 12 color, 15 colors or something like that, so you can start by this process. Usually when I got like a big images like that, I do I do double click on image and create like a auto digitizing. So the auto digitizing giving me the colors of the image, so it saves time on choose colors, and after that I start to I reduce the color for colors of my machine like 12 or 15, and then I start the digitizing. So uh, that's the idea, but also a file like that you show me, I do like to create like a, how I can say, knock down stitches before you start anything, So it's gonna hold the material in the back and first, then you can start the outer stitch, So you can use like the color of the fabric for this first color. So it's gonna hold backing and material, then you start the outer stitch over, and probably you don't need even use underlay for the next stitches, and you can save a lot of stitches on that,
Right. So I saw a design that you did. It's on your website. It's the one about Porto.
Porto
And
design. Porto design is a challenge because uh, the client wants something not to use few stitches. So we mostly create the file by a little setting and like 90% run stitches, so that's is a big challenge because it take more time to create when you need to work like manual stitches and run stitches, yeah, that portal design, yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So you had mentioned using the auto digitizing feature to establish the colors that you're going to
Yeah,
use.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you can go back and just tweak it and make small adjustments.
No, yes, okay. Because when we're gonna create the digitizing for the client, we want to try match the colors for the client. So like Madeira. So I put an image on the screen. I do double, I duplicate the image, put side by side, and one image I create the digitizing just to the software give me the colors, you know. So I don't need to search the colors on the digitize because the software give me right colors from image to me. Then I delete completely the auto digitizing and keep the colors on my color palette and start the digitize, you
Okay,
know. Yeah. So it saves time.
that's
So you
great.
don't need, oh, okay, what's this green? What's this yellow? You can use the auto digitize to get colors for you, you know.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Save a lot of time.
Okay, now you can also mix colors to get a third color. So if you have like a yellow and blue, you could kind of get a green because both of those would kind of give you that appearance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So
that's another way to get a third color without actually having to put a third color on your machine.
yeah, yeah. That's it. So like I said, it's very helpful to get the colors and save a lot of time because I think the first thing you need on big files like that, the first thing you need to have on the mind is how many colors you can use to create, you know. So if you have more color, more creative you can be. If you have less colors, like 6 or 9 colors, you need to change angles to create dimensions, you know, because you have less colors to work, you know. Sorry.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna ask you something, man.
Mm-hmm.
When you started that Porto design,
Uh-huh.
what other than the auto digitizing and getting the colors, what was other than and also making all the run stitches, what was another challenge? Like, how did you look at it and say, I'm going to start here as opposed to starting over there? And that question can answer to most.
Usually, yeah, usually I like to start the files by the last colors, you know. Like if you have like a character, like a Mickey Mouse, for example, and the Mickey Mouse have like a black outline on everything, I like to start by the last color, the outline, because when you create the last color, it's more easy to put the other colors inside, you know, because it's like when we as kids, you know, you have the the lines, you need to paint inside the lines, you know. So that's, I think it's better to create the digitize. You create the outline, the last color, then you you back and start to put the few stitches or setting stitches inside of the outline. So I think is better to start. So usually I start my files from end to begin. It's like read a book from the end to the begin, something like that. Yeah.
But does it digitize the same? Or when you're running the file on the machine, does it do the outline first and
No,
then
no,
does the
for no,
fill?
for
Or
sure, no.
does it do the
Just
fill
for
and then?
digitize. Yeah, yeah. It's like um okay, you need to create like a letter G. So I do an outline. So first I do the outline of the G, then I put the setting side of the outline. But for sure on machine I start by inside and then outline. Yes, just to digitize because I think that's more easy to create the files when you have like a entire outline of everything. You just need to put colors inside, you know.
Okay, that makes sense. So once you do all the digitizing, then you change the order to move the complex fill behind the outline.
Ah, yeah, for sure, because usually I use like a Control C, Control V to change the sequence of the files. So the order and I can put everything on order again. So outline by last, first color depends on the file for sure. You know, if a character, maybe the face, eyes, mouth, and then outline of on the end. You know, but I like to create the last color by first. Yes.
That's a great advice, and I think I'm going to take that. And I think
think
that's really
it's
wonderful.
better. Yeah, it's better if you have like especially when you have character designs like um like cheese horse here. You can see the horse.
Nope, I lost audio. There you go. Nope.
You can see the horse. Okay, so on this horse, we I have made the black first, then I put the colors inside. You know, you can hear me?
Yes, I'm looking at the horse right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, on the horse, I made the black outline first, then I put the colors inside.
And then you just reverse it, the order, and have it stitched from the inside out.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
and the
yeah,
black is the last thing that goes on.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Now
But
sometimes
mhm,
the whole black outline doesn't go at once, because you could do the inside and do an outline, and then do another section and do an outline, right?
yeah, yeah. This horse is we have made like two samples already, so it's not totally perfect, you know. So we changed the sequence of the horse now. So like I told on when we start the live, you know, we changed a little the sequence of the horse. We're gonna make this part first, you know, that and this part first, then black outline, then you're gonna make the top and this part and black outline. So we're gonna divide the horse in two parts to try make it avoid the registration problems, you know. So that's it.
All right. Okay. Um, with with the panel on some machines, you can actually it can actually auto digitize for you. So if you really don't want to digitize, you can click a button on your panels on the machine, and it will digitize stuff for you. But how often do you use the auto digitizing feature for actual digitizing and not just the color palette?
uh, the auto digitizing, we can try to use something. Let me check. If you have like a square, for example, you know, a simple square, you don't need to do like this the steers. You can use the auto digitize for create a square or some like a round form or something like that. But for the other things, never, because uh, it's not fair to the client, you know, because he paid to us to create something manual, you know. It's not auto digitizing. And today yet, I don't see any software can create something to compare a manual digitize, you know. So uh, I I I have I had on several shows, and I believe the auto digitizing is still is not here for a quality embroidery yet. Maybe that's gonna change by EA, but for now, the auto digitize is mostly for me, for example, it's just to get colors. Yes,
Now, on certain small design, I have used auto digitizing, and it came out pretty good, but nothing comes out as good as manual digitizing. And for
never.
those
I
of you
think
that are just starting, sometimes auto digitizing is not necessarily a bad thing, but you don't want to get used to it. You really want to start learning how to digitize and take control, because sometimes the way it auto digitizes, it doesn't give you the right path, the right sequence. It'll do the
like
letters and a bunch of different things, and it doesn't embroider correctly.
yeah, like if you get a simple letter A on I, if you try the auto digitize, sometimes it get a maze, you know. So I think it's still is I think it's still have a lot to make like a to compare a manual digitize, you know. So but for sure, when people buy a software, they try first the auto digitize, and sometimes it, like you said, it work fine, you know. But uh, most of the time not yet.
So Janelle Porter wanted to know, and I was wondering, how did you get into digitizing?
Where? Okay. That's a long time ago. But I start by 14 years on the embroidery machines on my city, and 6 years later, a friend of mine got like Toyota machines and an embroidery software. I think it's Barudan Panchant or something like that. And then he invited me to run machines by night, and I start to try the digitize by myself. So I start running machines by night, and when we don't have too much work to do, I try like aleatory images from internet and try the digitize learning by myself, and that's it. I learned by error. Okay, now it's working, now it's not. So most of that uh, computer, machine, computer, and I still learning every single day. Yeah,
Yeah, every single day.
yeah.
So
Because I think it's the embroidery industry is kind of, I don't know, some people's I think even if you have a lot years on embroidery, we need to open your mind to learn every day. No matter if the other guy start embroidery 1 year or 6 months, maybe you can learn from this guy. So I think you need to keep your mind open for that. If you think you know everything about embroidery, you're gonna get lost because you never know. We have sequins for embroidery. We have beads. I have chenille. I still learning about chenille with my guys here. So I think the most important part is that you can learn every day, and if you can share what you know for the authors. Don't keep the secret for you, or
yeah,
just
and
not try to sell your secret for because I think if people share, everyone can do better every day, So I don't know.
yeah, and
That's why I create free files, free fonts, and I help anyone call me on the Facebook or by email. So I think this is about that, not just about money.
of course, and I've gotten a look at some of your fonts, and somebody commented, Frank Fix said that the diamond puff is really remarkable, and it's fire. And so, because of that font, you taught me a technique on how to put puff first and then overlay satin on
Ah,
top
yeah,
to
yeah.
create that type of 3D look. And so, I've created some of my own designs using
Hmm.
that technique of
Hmm.
putting the puff first and then doing the satin. So, even that was inspirational to me, and I really appreciate that.
That's it. I saw this font by first on the guy from Philippines, So he posts some pictures, and when this guy creates something new, is is crazy because a lot of clients send message to me and say, "Hey, how you can do that too? You can create something like that." So when he showed this style by first, so a lot clients come to asking to create something like that, and I think we spend maybe 3 or 4 months to discover how to do that. So, and when we discover, we offer the file for free so other people can try too.
Yeah, and just when you thought you knew everything about embroidery, they throw another stick in there and they you learn something else. So I'm always amazed at everything that you can do with embroidery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like right now, like in Brazil now, people start back to use like a 3D puff fun on clothes, not on their hats. So, and that is I have made it like 20 years ago, and now it's back for fashion industry. So maybe it's gonna be the trend this year. You mix like a regular embroidery and 3D puff on shirts, on other materials. People don't try because they worry about wash or something like that. But I think it can be a very cool effect if you put 3D on the clothes.
It is, and there's also the embossing technique, and you also have some free files for that.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
do.
actually
I
really
I
cool.
made yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah, because depends on the area you work. For sure. If you work like for mostly companies logos or something like that, you don't need to be like create some fashion things or something. But if you do like fashion things like for college or something like that, it's nice to show the people something different on embroidery. So that's why we like to create and share so people can try, show to the client, and client of my client get happy, so everyone can win.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking about winning, you can take the code Carl20. That's Carl20, and you can get 20% off the already low price of the Deco Summit and take that opportunity to come learn and all these things that Vitor and I are talking about. You can learn about digitizing, embroidery, DTF, and it's just a whole networking event where you get to learn about all these new techniques. And also for the Chroma digitizing software, you can put Chroma Live 20, and that'll be your code to get 20% off Chroma digitizing software. So make sure you take advantage of that. So you can go to Deco
Nice.
Summit to learn a whole bunch of techniques, and you can get a discount on Chroma Live. And the code is going to be available until midnight Friday. So you have until midnight tomorrow, and your carriage is going to turn back into a pumpkin. So if you want to learn anything, you got to come see us in Deco Summit.
Nice.
Now back to digitizing. So it's like I was saying before. It's always amazing how this whole thing went on, and I always tell people, don't be afraid to mix media and different techniques. So don't stick to puff just for hats. You can
Yeah,
use puff on clothing. We did a signature of an artist in with puff embroidery, and you can actually see the signature in the puff on the clothes, and that came out really great. So you always have to think outside the box, and don't be closed-minded, and be open-minded and learn all these techniques. And there's a lot of forums that you can go to, look at the trends online to see what's happening in social media, and
you can go
check
for.
out Vitor, and you can
Yes,
check
sorry.
out Vitor's page on those new techniques, which are great.
Also, if you have DTF printer, you can mix DTF in embroidery.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have saw some people using like a DTF to print background for the head, so it's great. Uh, it can help you when you have like a very small detail logos, so you can do a mix of embroidery and DTFs, so you can get all the details for the client. So you need to try use what you have on the home. If you have DTF and embroidery machine, create a mix of that for your clients, so you can show something different, and you can how can say, if you offer something different, it gives to your client a opportunity to use something different uh, and more original than others. That's, I think, is
Sure,
is
it gives
nice.
them
Yeah,
more options
yeah.
for sure. Now, do you know of a formal digitizing school? Because I'm self-taught, and I guess you were doing it for 15 years.
We
And
don't.
the good thing is that me, I have you that I can always call on you to ask for advice. And also, there's a bunch of videos that are, you can even go to Chroma Digitizing and see a bunch of videos on how to digitize. So there's a lot of information out there on how to do it.
Oh yes. I think is okay. The social media is nice because you can connect everyone and see everything. But the problem also, you have not a lot information. Sometimes is not too nice. So I think people when they start to digitize on something, they go for first on the Facebook groups, and on there you have some different opinions, and you know, I think now it's very important to buy a book for embroidery digitize. You know, read a book from the basic. Then you go to your computer, try yourself, you go to machine. If not work, try again, uh, and try find the quality information. You know, don't. It's not something bad about the Facebook group. Is not, but I think sometimes people post something and they have a lot different opinions, and most of the time is not quality opinions, you know. So today I think is a nice book about the digitize. I think you have John there. I think the Bonnie, I think it's Bonnie Nielsen, the German girl. I think is very nice book to learn, and the author is just try computer and machine is, I think, is the best way to learn, you know. So uh because here in Brazil we don't have any school for digitizing, you know. You just can have a online course or something like that. But the problem of online course sometimes is not the same software you use, and sometimes it's the same software but you don't have the all options the guy have on the screen, you know. So I think today I think the best idea is read a good book about the digitizing and go and try by yourself.
So just like in jujitsu, you have to learn the fundamentals before you go out and learn the hard techniques.
Yeah.
With digitizing, it's the same. You have to have a basic understanding of how it works. And when you have that basic understanding, then you could expand on that and learn. And just like you, I'll make a design at home and I'll run it, I'll make it again, I'll make it again, and I just keep going and going. And I want to see what happens and how the material behaves every time. So I'll do some simple drawings. I've done little squares, and
Yeah.
on each square, I
Yeah.
change the density, I
Yeah.
change the stitch length, and I run them all out. So I'll have 20 squares with all different densities, all different thicknesses, stitch lengths, and then I can see how it interacts with the fabric. And now I know don't use that combination, or I should use this combination instead.
And the most important, you need to go and watch the design on machine, you know. So not just send file to machine, press start and back to computer. Keep your eye on machine and see how
Yes.
machines work on the material, on the head, you know, because especially for hats, you know, you need to go and see all sequence on the of embroidery on machine on the hat, you know, because by the final picture you sometimes you can tell is wrong, you know. So I think that is very important to create the digitize, go to machine, watch every stitch, then back to computer, and if you need to fix something, fix, go to machine again. And I think the most important is not to spend like 3 or 4 hours a day to try to learn digitize. If you spend like 1 hour per day doing some simple things, but every single day, you know, I think in 1 month you can get very very nice on digitize, you know. But the most important is do
That,
something every single day. Even if you don't have digitize to do, just get something on internet and try, you know. If not working in 1 hour, turn off computer, go to do something different. On the other day you and on other day you go and try again, you know. So I think that's the best way to learn,
so
because if you spend like 4 5 hours, oh my gosh, I can get it right, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna think, oh, okay, I need to contact a digitizer because I can't do that or something. So don't do that. Just 1 hour per day, and you're gonna learn very, very nice. You know.
and something that you had mentioned earlier, when I became a customer and I went into the Facebook group, I was bombarded by people. Hey, I could digitize for you. I could digitize for you, and everybody was a digitizer.
Yeah,
And so,
I think you have a lot, yeah. But I think I respect everyone because everyone want to work, you know.
sure,
But I think it's the difference when you need to choose a digitizer. The most important is know if your digitizer have an embroidery machine, you know, because if the digitizer don't have an embroidery machine, it's not how can I say it's not good because sometimes we know you do something wrong, you know. Sometimes no, we do something wrong every single day. So we have machines. You, we have machines here to test and discover what is wrong, you know. So I think that is important part, you know. So you can tell to the client, okay, stop your machine. We're gonna put a hat here on machine and test and see how it works. And sometimes we spend 4 5 hats to get the file for the client right, you know. Sometimes we don't do any money on the digitize, but we get the file right to the client. That's I think
right.
is the most important part on shoes the digitizer, you know. So sometimes I heard used to use this digitizer because he never made something wrong. Just if he made 5 files because we do something wrong. I know that because I work with digitizer for long years, so it's nothing is perfect. On screen always perfect, but on machine is not. If you change material, if you change back, if your machine is bad, something can be wrong. So if you're gonna choose a digitizer, try to get one have machine to test files for you. That is important part.
Yeah, I always request a mock-up or a one on backing just to see what it looks like if you're going to do it. And if you are outsourcing your designs, the best thing you could do is take it to your machine, run it on backing, and watch and pay attention and see how it embroiders. And by watching how it does it, you could learn how to digitize.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one
Also,
thing that I did. When you sent me my first file, I was like, I want to see how this thing looks to see what he did different than I was doing. So I
hmm
was starting here and here and here and there. But then when you sent it to me, it was like just really smooth and like a ballet, and everything just flowed really nice.
yeah, yeah. We need to try save color change, trims, and to make the file run faster and better to the client. Sometimes
Yeah.
we not do it right, but we always can fix that.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when I'll put a file in a machine, and just by it starting, oop, I know I forgot something or I know I made a mistake. So I stop it, I go back, I fix it, I'll run it, and I watch it to make sure that all the sequence is correct. And if something is wrong, I'll do it again. So there's a lot of times where you have a back and forth, and having your own machine while you're digitizing is great because you could see exactly what's happening and what it's doing.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is the most important part, and also is like 20 years ago, you find a digitizer like here on the city is not easy. You don't have like a nice internet or something like that. So most of the problems of the files we can solve on machine. Backing, setting tension. But no, but today everything is go wrong on machine is digitizer fault. That is the nice part when you see a picture on the Facebook and something wrong on the embroidery. The first comment is bad digitizer. But they even ask to the client, to the people, say, oh, we can see the back of embroidery because sometimes the embroidery looks bad when you ask for picture on the back is wrong backing, bad tension, or something like that. So uh, like I said, is a learning curve every day. Because for the digitize is hard because when you order digitize with me, I don't know if you have like a Tajima, Ricoma, ZSK, Berda, Brother, oh, I don't know, or you do digital embroidery by your hand. I don't know. So we need to is we just work by guess. Okay, we do the digitize, we test here on machine, but I don't know if your machine have a good tension, if you use a good backing or something like that. So that's I need to say you need to have a nice digitizer that can help you not just create the digitize but maybe explain, oh, you need adjust the tension, you need to put two backings for this file, for the heads you need to change needle or something like that, so that is the very important part. Your digitizer have machine and can share with you this kind of information, because we have a lot of clients, they have a regular jobs, and then by night they run the embroidery machines, so you need to be very helpful for these people because they not just have embroidery for fun or something like that. They working hard to feed the family, to try make more money with the family. So it's a serious business, and you need to take the your my job like digitize very serious and try to make the best for the client on a nice price for them. So I think is about that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And when I tell people if they're requesting digitizing files from an outsourcing, so let's say, so if you are just starting and you don't know how to digitize, it's perfectly fine to outsource.
Hmm.
But when you do ask for something, make sure you let the digitizer know what machine you have, what material it's going on, whether it's for a hat, whether it's for a flat. All that
Yeah,
information is super critical for the digitizer. But if you just tell them, look, I want this design, what you might get is not what you need for that particular application. So be as forthcoming as possible when it comes to the information so that your digitizer has a good idea and he's not guessing.
yeah, yeah, that's it. Uh, because mostly when we do the digitize, most of the file is working on most of the fabrics, But if you do like a file for polo shirts and then you go put this file on like a Nike perform shirts, it's not working very nice because too much stitches, So you need to change maybe underlay sequence or something like that. So, but it's not the client fault because sometimes the first order is for polos, then the client asks for hats. So uh, the client uh, uh, when you start embroidery maybe you think, oh, okay, I can use the same file, but it's not, so that's I tell again that is important. It's very important to have a nice partner digitize with you, because you can call and ask for, oh, okay, can you make it for hats? Now I change the fabric is gonna be a very thin fabric. You can do something on digitize to not puckering or something like that. So that's it, because I know people always running. They sometimes don't have time to explain very detailed order. Okay, I have five black polos, five white polos, and it's gonna be on jacket something. Usually they just upload the image and say, okay, I need for lap chest and hat, and it's done.
Yeah.
So we need to try to do a file that work on mostly of the material. Not too much stitches, not too much light stitches, something medium, and it usually works very nice on most of the fabrics, and sometimes you need to do some small adjust, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So it's really important to give as much information as you can. And Miss Tony Sparks said, how can you tell when an image is digitized wrong, too big, or small? The only way you could tell is every time I get a file, I always run it on either backing or a similar material. So I have a bin full of different types of fabrics, and I'll run the test on that fabric. and you have to sit there and watch it. You have to see it, and if it doesn't make sense while it's embroidering, then it was digitized incorrectly. So you have to watch it and see how it works out. So even after I digitize something, I'll run it on the machine, and I want to see how how it embroiders out. And sometimes I'll find a mistake, I'll find an error. I could cut a trim here, add a trim over here, and that's the only way to find out. You have to run the test.
Yeah, for sure. But when you do like a lot digitizing every day, when you open uh, the image and you can do like a true view on your software, you can find something common errors like the few stitches wrong position, the end of a few stitches on wrong position too, or maybe the letters too small to work on this size or something. We most of the times we can tell on the screen it's gonna work or not, and we when we don't have sure if it's gonna work or not, we send to machine for test, so that's how we work here. We create the digitize. Oh, okay. I think that's gonna work nice. But if you don't have if you don't have sure, we send to the machine to know. Oh, okay. Let's see if this multis is gonna work fine. Let's see if this 3D is gonna work fine. So, but we can see when you do a lot digitize or a lot embroidery every single day. When you open and see the true view, most of the times you can catch something wrong on the digitize, yeah. Or maybe you open a file is too big for heads and or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's some good advice. And also, not only, it's really important to tell the digitizer how big you want the file, because once it's digitized, for example, this file
Hmm.
is 10,000 stitches.
Okay.
If I wanted this file to be 4 inches,
Hmm.
and I increase the size on the machine, it
Okay.
will still be 10,000 stitches, but now I've got them spread out.
Yeah, yeah.
So my satin, instead of being like this,
Hmm.
is going to be like this because I've
Yeah,
spread it out.
yeah.
Now, if I make this smaller, the same thing happens. Instead of having stitches like this, all the stitches are going to be like that, and the needle's going to be hitting the same spot over and
Yeah,
over. And I'm going
yeah.
to break needles, I'm going to break thread, I'm going
Bird
to tear the
nest,
material.
bird
So,
nest.
bird's nest. So, it's really important to make sure that you get the right size. You
Yeah,
can increase the size by 10 to 5% on the machine, but no more.
yeah.
Anything more than that, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, for sure. You need to try get like a native file of your software and change the files, the size on the software, so it compensation steers, underlay, and depends on the size. If you got a file like that, you're gonna make it like a 7 inch. Maybe you need to change underlay of setting or something like that too. So you
Sure.
can't keep the same. Yeah, yeah.
And even if you're not a digitizer, if
Hmm.
you have the software,
Hmm.
you can take whatever file your digitizer gave you,
Okay.
and then you could make it bigger or smaller on your software. Because if I were to make this 10,000 stitch patch 4 inches, it
Hmm.
would turn it to 15,000.
Hmm.
If I were to shrink it to 2 inches, it would make it 8,000.
Yeah.
So if even if you're not going to digitize like on a regular basis and you still want to outsource, it's really good to have software so that you can make adjustments. Let's say I wanted to change the letters. I could change the letters, no problem with the software. I could add letters, I could add little features, a
For
couple
more
little
poor
things here and there.
compensation, density
Right.
too. Yeah, yeah.
But at least
Because
having the software, you don't have to do the whole job, but you could tweak it and make it work for you.
I think you need to check like some people is a question everyone do. Oh, okay. I gonna outsize my digitize or I gonna do on the house. You need to check how much time you spend to create a simple logo. And because you can sometimes spend choose time run machines, you know. So sometimes you do more money running machines than to try save money and do digitize on the house, you know. But it's nice to know like simple edits, like oh, okay, I need to make it more density, smaller, or put a different taste or something like that. It can be helpful, so you don't need to sometimes wait hours to get a file back from your digitize, you know. So especially on weekends, you know. So sometimes you need something urgent like a Saturday night, you know. So if you know the basic on the software, any software you have, you know, you can try fix that and run machines, and Monday you can ask for your digitizer adjust for you, you know.
if it didn't work.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So it's
even
all
if you did, yeah, because it's nice to, because if you fix design, if you need to fix design the digitize have made to you to make it looks better, it's nice you give your digitize the feedback. Okay, Vitor, I changed the density of this file because my machine is not work nice, and here is the file I have it made the edit, you know. So the digitize can learn it with that, and on the next time he can send to you on right density, right stitches, you know. So it's important to share the file with it also, you know.
and that keeps you from guessing as to what they need.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Tony Sparks said, if I have any videos regarding underlay and things like that. So on the Chroma digitizing channel, we're coming out with videos almost every week showing different techniques, showing different functions of the software. And also, if you go on your portal, all the customers at Racoma have a portal where they get free training on Chroma. So we have abundant information. You don't have to go to school for it. You can go right to Racoma and find on your portal and get all the information you need. And on the Chroma Digitizing software channel, like I said, we're coming out with different techniques, all the, every week that teach you how to do this. So just stay tuned on that so you could learn more.
Nice. Very nice. You have a nice channel here, Carl. Very, very nice.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, man, I have learned a lot from you. And just by getting your free files and
Mm-hmm.
watching how they're done, that's taught me a lot on different techniques. And it's even helped me develop my own techniques and add to that.
Uh, that's I try to say for everyone, you know. Not try to keep the secret, and not be too shame to ask for the authors for advice, you know, because now you learn it from me, but maybe tomorrow, next week, I need to come and ask to you to do something on Chroma or something like that, you know. So it's not shame on that. So because we need to open mind and learn it from authors, no matter if the guy start yesterday or have you know, what I can what I see on some of my clients, they sometimes get mad with me and say, oh, I do embroidery for, you know, long years, and I never see that before or use that before, you know. So it's hard because sometimes uh, 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 I change the mind on a lot of things I learned on the past, and now I learn it maybe not work too good, you know. So I think is embroidery and digitize is not like a uh, exactly holy for everything, you know. Sometimes you need to do like think out of the box to make things work, you know. So
That's my line.
yeah.
Always telling people to think outside the box. And by the way, Vitor, we took a poll and
Uh-huh.
asked everybody if they wanted you to come back so we can talk to them again. And everybody said it was 100% yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to learn more about Chrome software. That's nice because I have a lot clients that they have Chroma software, and a lot clients ask it to us to create files for Chroma software. So it's something we discuss here on the company about. We start to offer native Chroma files, but we need to learn because we need to offer the best for the client. So I can offer full right now because we still learn a lot about the Chroma software settings or something. And but I hope this year we can offer also native files for Chroma software and help or Chroma clients have native files on their software.
Yeah. So the native file for the Racoma machines or for Chroma is the RDE file.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the RDE file, you get the true color type. You can manipulate it. You can adjust it as you
Density,
need to.
underlay, uh-huh.
Exactly. But right now, when you get the working file, that's the DST that you just plug right into your machine.
Yeah.
So Vitor is saying that once he becomes a master of Chroma, he'll be able to offer the RDE file
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that we can adjust it and make the changes that we need.
yeah. We're gonna try that this year, because it's a lot investment, and not just on the money, but on the learning. So we need to try make it working and have time to for that. So, but I think is nice because I know more and more people getting a recommend in USA and they have Chroma, and I think is can be very nice to can offer that for
Sure.
Recoma clients.
Now, one thing I can tell you, Vitor, my line is open. Anytime you have any questions for Chroma, you can call me
I
anytime.
know that's
And
good, that's good, but like I say, we still need to have like extra hours on the day because we still have a company to run and
I
still have
know.
family and everything. So, but we're gonna get you to working. Don't worry.
Now, the good thing is that you have a really good background. So you already know the fundamentals. So
Yeah.
learning where the buttons are is pretty much all you need to do.
Yeah, we just need to get familiar by the tools, because the digital is gonna be the same. Run stitch, few stitches. We just need to see, oh, that is the tool for run stitch, that for few, and do some tests on the machine and see how it works. So, but basically, yes, we have like the base. We just need to learn more about the software itself.
Yeah. So, Vitor, I really want to thank you for taking this time out of your busy day. I know you're really busy, and I think you've got some construction going on. So, I really
Yeah,
want to thank
the
you
new
for
shop,
coming
yeah.
today, man. Yeah, that's great. Congratulations on the new
Mm-hmm.
shop.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much, and hopefully we could do this again. Everybody thinks this was great. I think this was great. I learned a whole bunch. So I
For
took
sure.
notes as I was watching this. So I want to thank you very much, man. And make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We have the YouTube channels, and hopefully we could see you on at Deco Summit where you can learn a whole bunch again. And make sure you check out Vitor's website, vitordigitizing.com, for all more information. So we'll see you guys on the next live. Thank you.
Thank you,
Right?
Carl.
And
Have
that's
a
what you
nice
guys
weekend.
are here for, right? You guys
You
are
too.
here because you have challenges or questions that you want answers to.
Because you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Echo Summit is very different than a typical trade show that we attend. Everybody is here to network and learn.
Here at Deco Summit, I'm honored to be one of the speakers. I was talking about how to grow your business and find customers, and then I get to be a student. So I've been in some hands-on embroidery. I'm obsessed.
If you've never been to Deco Summit, I would tell you definitely need to get out here. If you're on the fence whether or not to get an embroidery machine, I think that this would be a good experience. You get hands-on training, you meet a lot of people that are already in the industry.
Without coming here, I would have never turned my machine on. So
there you go. One step at a time.